Welcome to the Passive Income Machine podcast, where we show you how to break free from the grind and achieve real financial freedom in 10 years or less. My name is Ryan D. Lee, and I've helped thousands turn income into cash flow, trade fake money for real assets, and take back control over their time, their wealth, and ultimately their life. Each week, you'll get strategy, tools, and mindset to build your own passive income machine. So my friends, sit back, relax, and enjoy today's episode. All right, my friends. Welcome back to the Passive Income Machine podcast. Today, as has been every single day, you are on the microphone today with me, Ryan D. Lee. And today we're going to be talking about building wealth and why it's simple but not easy. I'm going to invite you to consider that building wealth, there's no hacks, there's no workarounds, there's no shortcuts. Now, you can do things faster than the average person, no doubt. But in this episode today, I'm going to give you a framework, a formula really, to build real wealth. And it comes down to a universal principle that you can apply no matter where you start from. Now, listen, if I could give you the formula to build wealth in one sentence, here's what it would be. Earn more, keep more, and put your money to work in a system that buys back your time. That's it. Like I said, it's not easy, but it is super simple. The only question is, are you willing to follow a proven pathway? I think today so many people get caught up in the hype and the noise in the media, in the latest and greatest, that they start and stop so many times that they never let wealth actually build. Wealth is a function of time. Now, when you use real wealth building principles, you get consistent outcomes. And then when you can add time to that, the game starts to multiply for you. So today, we're going to be breaking down the real formula behind building wealth and how to stop waiting, stop hoping, and start building your freedom right now. Now, to get into this topic of conversation, I want you to consider this. We live today in a world where we are bombarded, and we have the most educated, sophisticated algorithms chasing us down. When you click on something, the entire world conspires against you to feed you more of that thing, to overdrive you. And most people today are so overwhelmed with the topic and conversation on money that they're just opting out. Now, if you're listening to this podcast, I know you're opting in because money is important to you. Now, you don't have to be money driven. The outcome of everything you're doing isn't to have more money, but I want you to consider this. Money's greatest intrinsic value is to give you more options inside of your life, more control over how you use and ultimately invest your time. And really, that's what freedom is all about. The mission of the Passive Income Machine, the mission of everything I talk about on this podcast, is to empower you with money within a constrained period of time, 10 years or less, to own and control the rest of your life. And here's what I want you to consider. It's going to be hard either way. You just get to choose when and how you want to experience your hard. Most people, unfortunately, choose to experience their hard in the latter portion of their life. They go the easy route where they get some form of an income. They spend everything they make and then some. They don't think about investing. They don't think about saving until their late 30s, early 40s, maybe even into their 50s. Then they start to contemplate the idea of retirement, and they're trying to break a lifetime worth of bad habits, and they're trying to condense wealth, which again is a function of time, into a period of a couple of years. They're trying to squeeze a couple of dollars saved and get an astronomically high rate of return so they have mystically enough money to retire one day. Everyone is looking for the magic secret, the next hack, the secret formula, the one strategy that the wealthy don't know or they don't want you to know. But John Bogle probably said it best. The secret is there are no secrets. Building wealth, it's not complicated, but it is uncomfortable. I want you to consider this. Why would you ever not spend every dollar that you have in your economy today, right? Money's, really the purpose of saving, the purpose of investing is delayed spending. That's all it is, right? I mean, when you think about the concept of retirement, you want to forego spending on a certain amount of your money today. That takes sacrifice. That takes discipline. And then you want to put that delayed or that deferred gratification, that deferred spending to work so it earns a rate of return. But really at the end of the day, it's, do you want to spend everything today and live broke later? Or do you want to live on a fraction of your income? And that fraction could be 90, 80% of your income so you can spend like most people can't tomorrow. So here's the really simple strategy behind this. People ask me all the time what the secret to wealth is. I think think it can be summed up in two basic concepts. Make more than you spend. That's concept number one. Make more than you spend. And concept number two is investing the difference wisely. The truth, it's hidden. It's not, or the truth isn't hidden, but it's ignored. Most people aren't losing because they're dumb or lazy. They're losing because they're stuck playing a broken game. Let's take each sentence, each statement on its own, and let's talk about the idea of spending less and earning more. The first equation inside of your financial freedom pathway is something you have 100% control over. Now, I get it. The world is expensive. I've been talking to my kids quite a bit. My oldest son is 19 and he's been out on his own for a year. In fact, I took my youngest son, he's 13, to the grocery store with me this weekend, and I spent $113 at the grocery store on some random, whatever, a few little knickknacks and a few things that we were going to eat over the weekend, but $113. And my son, we ended up having about an hour-long conversation on the economy. He's like, Dad, how come that was so expensive? I mean, he has a concept now of what money is and how much $113 is, and we talked all about it. I mean, it's hard to spend less, but it is not impossible. Beth and I, my wife, we ended up talking to my son for about an hour that day, and we talked to him all about how when we started out, we would coupon, we would sacrifice, we would get the cheap brands, we would be very, very intentional about what we spent and where. We tracked every dollar. We acted as the CEO over our money. Our money meant something to us, and every dollar had to have a job. And so spending less is a function of being conscious. It's a function of aligning your actual spending with your actual values. It's understanding what it took to have that money in your possession and what it's going to take to buy your time back, and giving every dollar a very specific job within your budget or your spending plan, and then ensuring that that job was done. That's how you spend less. But I don't want to just focus on scarcity. I don't want to just focus on cutting, although many people, myself included, can and should cut hundreds, if not thousands of dollars out of their monthly budget. Again, like I said earlier, the smartest people in our world today are constantly trained to bombard you with advertisements telling you that you're going to be happy on the tail end of making the next purchase of something that just has an immediate dopamine hit. It's just like, oh my gosh, yeah, I'm happy for a second, but I forgot about it almost the second I bought it, and then I'm on to the next thing. So spend less, become conscious. But the other part of this equation is earning more. And I think the fastest pathway for anyone to become financially free is to double, triple, quadruple their income. It's to understand that dollars follow value. And in our economy today, if you want more dollars, oftentimes it's a function of increasing your capacity to create and exchange more value with more people. So it's making more and then spending less. And then the second part of that equation was investing the difference wisely. Now, I've done other podcasts on this topic, and so I'm not going to belabor this point, but I want you to consider that Wall Street, that traditional financial media, has hijacked the word investing, and they've got most people believing that investing, the word, is something that it's not. I want you to consider this. The definition of investing is parting with capital. That's the money that you traded your time, effort, and energy for. It's parting with capital with the expectation of safety of principal and an adequate return in the form of interest, dividends, or rent. If you're putting your money anywhere in a place where you're parting with that capital and you don't have an expectation of safety of principal, you're not actually investing. You're doing the opposite. You're speculating. Speculating is parting with capital with the hope of appreciation. In essence, what you're doing with speculating is you're buying at one price today with the hope of selling it at an appreciated price tomorrow. That is what most people are doing with their retirement plan, and they're somehow calling it investing. They've been tricked. They've been hoodwinked. Words matter. So investing the difference wisely is by and large a function of financial education. Hey, real quick, before we get back into it, I gotta tell you, if you're getting value here, you'll love the How to Retire in 10 Years Summit. I mean, seriously, everything you're hearing right now, the tactics, strategies, all the insights, they all tie back to this one incredible event. We're laying out the exact blueprint for financial freedom in 2025, and pre-registration is open right now. If you jump jump in early, you'll get special bonuses that won't last forever. So hit that link in the description or go to retireintenyears.com and secure your spot. Now, let's get back to the show. It's understanding what investing actually is, and it's understanding how to direct your capital where your principal is safe and you're getting a reasonable, adequate return in the form of interest, dividends, or rent, and then it's being able to hold on to your investments for long enough to experience the asymmetric upside that comes with time. Wealth is a function of time. So if you can follow this formula, this simple two-sentence formula of making more than you spend and investing the difference wisely, then really the function of creating wealth, of becoming financially free, comes down to developing simple daily habits that result in wealth accumulation. Really, the results of the life that we're living today are a function of the decisions, ultimately the habits that we had yesterday, 5 years ago, 10 years ago. And if you don't like the results of your current life today, by and large, it's going to come down to having to create a different set of habits, which means a different mindset, a different set of actions, leading to a different routine that leads into habits over time. So as you increase your income, as you control your cash flow, as you start funding a system that's going to buy back your time, this is the concept of delayed gratification. It's not spending everything that you have today, putting a portion of your money aside for the future and buying back your time so you can consume and buy the things you want tomorrow versus having to constantly trade your time for dollars for the rest of your life. I was doing an interview today for the Retire in 10 Years Summit, which if you're not registered for, you should get registered for. But I was talking to someone from Peru. She migrated from Peru, and she's now built a business teaching Latinos how to handle money and how to become financially free. And I love this interview because what she talked about is a cultural perception that you work until you die. That's how most people are setting their life up. They're working until they die. They do not have a thought or a function or a system to buy their time back tomorrow. And so they're going to work until they can't anymore. And if you can't work until you die, you work until you can't anymore. And then you live off of dependent of your children, of the community, or of government. That's not freedom, my friends, in any stretch of the imagination. If you want to be free, you have to have a system, a discipline, a simple daily habit to make more than you spend, take a portion of that difference, that surplus, and put it to work investing, not speculating for the future. Now, obviously on this podcast, we talk about, the passive income machine. And the passive income machine is a system that fits right in line with this. You create a strategic surplus between your income and your expenses. You put that surplus in a vault where your money never loses. You continuously compound your money for the rest of your life. There are never down years. So you're never wondering, oh my gosh, what's the market going to do tomorrow? You're not riding a roller coaster. Every year you're getting wealthier. I want you to imagine a world where that's the case. But unlike saving, keeping your money locked up and not being able to make it move, your money's liquid, and you can then leverage that liquidity to buy assets. This is where we talk about buying cash flowing assets and letting time make you wealthy. When you buy the right asset in the right location, then all you have to do is work with the economic forces rather than against them. Now, all of this comes down to a set of clarity, because without clarity, without a vision of your future self and what you ultimately want in the future, it's just too easy to spend all of the money that you have in your life today. It's too easy to get money in and 2 weeks later have it all out of your bank account. It's too easy to get a promotion and go blow it on a vacation because it's been a tough year. It's too easy to spend your money. If you don't know what you want and why it matters, if you don't have a vision of what retirement, of what financial freedom means to you, then my friends, you'll never be free. And the opposite of freedom is really bondage. You will always be dependent on someone, whether that's you or whether that's someone else, to provide the money for you to survive. That's really what it comes down to. So I want you to consider this. Wealth, it's not net worth. It's not a number. It's when you control your time. Freedom starts when your income shows up, whether you work or not. And so if we had to break this down into a simple wealth creating formula, right? We have the statement, make more than you spend and invest the difference wisely. If we wanted to then create a formula out of this, here's the pathway to wealth or financial freedom. It's making small, smart choices. Multiply that with consistency. multiply that with time, that equals wealth. Small, smart choices multiplied by consistency, multiplied by time equals wealth or financial freedom. The math isn't the hard part, it's the execution of that. If you're unable to make small, consistent, smart choices, then time is working against you. Most people spend their entire life not making small, smart, consistent choices, and then they arrive in their 40s, 50s, and 60s and wonder where's all their time gone and where's all their money gone, and they have very little to show for it. They are dependent on the system. So if you can make those small, deliberate, consistent choices, start right now saving 1% of your income. If you can't do that, start saving, $5. It doesn't really matter. All that matters is start making the right choices and building habits that compound over time. In James Clear's book, what is his book? Atomic Habits. He talks about the power of 1% improvement. If you can just get 1% better each day, 1% better each week, 1% better each month, it doesn't matter. The faster you can constrain that improvement, the faster your life is going to transform. But small, smart choices multiplied by consistency, that's the game. Then time works for you. If you can start this thing in your 20s, awesome. If you have to start it in your 30s, awesome. If you have to start in your 40s, tell yourself the truth. Be mad about the previous 20 years that you didn't start, and then make tomorrow different than today. Like I said, the math, it's not the hard part, it's the execution. You don't need a new trick. You don't need to listen to the new gimmicks, the latest hype. You don't need to wonder which cryptocurrency's on today and which one's off tomorrow. You don't need to wonder about what the Magnificent Seven are doing or what's going on in the real estate world or interest rates. All of those are just technicalities. Now, do they matter? Yeah, they matter. But the real thing that matters is your input into a system. If you don't have any inputs, then the system doesn't actually matter. You, my friends, need habits that align your attention with your outcome. You don't need to make $1 million decisions every day. You just need to make $10 decisions daily that align with your $1 million outcome. Let me say that again. You don't need to make $1 million decision every single day. You just need to make small $10 decisions every single day that start to align with your $1 million outcome. Then the $1 million takes care of itself. So it's really a function of a system. Weekly cash flow review, automatic contributions to a vault, monthly wealth building date night with your spouse, talk about where your money's going, become the CEO of your money, quarterly reassessment of your game plan, making sure that over the last quarter, you've accomplished the goals and the targets that you set out, and then constantly investing in income producing education, assets, and skills. My friends, if you can do this, this is how the game is played. In fact, let me quote a few more people just to close this out, because procrastination is the single biggest wealth killer. Warren Buffett said this: my wealth, now he's a multi-billionaire. I think it's $150 billion, at the last time I checked on that. But Warren Buffett says that his wealth has come from a combination of living in America, a place where anything is possible, some lucky genes, of course, right? When you're around, association matters, and when you've got good genes and good upbringing, it just makes it a little bit easier to start on the path that's going to compound into wealth. So again, Warren Buffett, my wealth has come from a combination of living in America, some lucky genes, and compound interest. If we said that a little bit differently, or if we go a little bit further in the same interview, Warren Buffett goes on to say, the biggest contributor to my wealth is time, not timing. The biggest contributor to my wealth is time, not timing. So most people don't fail because they don't know what to do. They fail because they don't have a system to do it consistently. Life gets in the way. Braces, car repairs, vacations, upgrades, lifestyle creep expands with income. We feel that we're doing well because we're doing well enough to survive, but we're not doing well enough to thrive. And we keep telling ourselves one day, when it slows down, when I have enough more time, when I have more attention, but we all know one day never comes. You have to start prioritizing your wealth, prioritizing your future self, and start creating the daily disciplines and habits that will lead to inevitable wealth over time. Surplus, it's not sacrifice, it's fuel. When you create that surplus between your income and your expenses, it becomes freedom fuel to buy back your time and help you live the way you want to live. I mean, take a moment right now, whether you're at the gym or driving in your car or wherever you're at, and just try for just a moment to visualize your future self. Try to visualize visualize you 10 years out? What would that version of you think the present version of you for? What would that version of you say, I wish I would have done this 10 years ago? I promise you, that version of you wants freedom. But the only difference between the future version of you and the version of you today is you haven't created that person. You haven't developed the discipline or the habits to make that person inevitable. You're still wishing that something will change outside of your control that will make that future version of you just disappear. It'll just fade into you being, you just 10 years later, right? So if your lifestyle grows with your income, your wealth never will grow. So indecision is still a decision, and it's costing your freedom every single day. So to close all of this up, my friends, here's what I want you to consider. You don't need a financial advisor to manage your 401k. You don't need 10 years of frugality. You don't need a get-rich-quick play. All you really need is a game plan. All you really need is a framework to say, this is what I want. I'm going to develop one step at a time the daily disciplines and habits to make my wealth inevitable. That's what happens when you build good systems and build good habits. Your habits make your future automatic. So to bring this home, the formula is simple, the habits are clear, the system is available, the only thing left is you. Small, smart choices multiplied by consistency, multiplied by time, equals financial freedom in 10 years or less. All you need to do is become the person capable of change. So my friends, if that's you, start today, wherever you're at. It doesn't matter whether you're starting in the hole, you're starting at ground zero, or you're starting with a little bit of surplus. Get clear on what you want, get clear about what your money represents, and start becoming the CEO of your money and dictating your future rather than reacting to the future that your habits are already creating. My friends, thank you for joining me on this podcast. I will talk to you on the next one. All right, my friends, thanks so much for hanging out today. I really appreciate you tuning in. But before you go, if we talked about something today that made you want to take action, you need to get yourself registered for the How to Retire in 10 Years Summit. It's the financial game changer that you've been looking for, teaching you exactly how to create passive income and financial freedom in 2025. Jump on it early because we've got a special bonus waiting for you. All the details are in the link below, or head on over to retireintenyears.com. So get registered, and I'll see you at the summit.